if you could express this to anybody that's watching, credit score, credit score, credit score.
Mm-hmm.
When you take care of your personal self, you will not have to have anything down. What's the down payment do outside of lower your monthly? It doesn't verify that you are any less risky if you have $2,000 to put down on a car.
Have you enjoyed listening to the IncrediPaul podcast? Are you looking for a way to support it? Or maybe you just want some swag? Check out the IncrediPaul store today. We have shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, hats, stickers, and so much more. Go to IncrediPaul.org, IncrediPaul.org, and click on the store link. Or go to the link in my socials bio and click on the IncrediPaul shop. Looking forward to seeing your IncrediPaul look.
Turn this up, turn this up.
Your professional development is one of the keys to your career success. When you combine your desire to grow with actionable steps, your journey to success becomes an incredible reality. Welcome to the IncrediPaul podcast. And now, sharing his expertise, experience, and excellence with the world, here's your host, Paul Ferranbi.
Hi, I'm Paul Ferranbi, and welcome to the IncrediPaul podcast, where we learn how to become the most incredible versions of ourselves by learning from each other. Today, I have Michael on the podcast, who says he's the your second favorite Turo host. Michael, how about you tell me more about that and more about yourself in general?
So it's funny. I actually started using that second favorite Turo host because when I used to play Fortnite, there was this guy named Denver, which he used to call himself your second favorite PE teacher. And I was trying to figure out, why the heck does this man keep saying this over and over again? Finally, he told the story that he was a PE teacher.
Okay.
That he was a content creator for Fortnite at the same time. But
oh, wow.
That your PE teacher should be your favorite. So he proclaimed himself as the second because you should be your own. So whenever I say I'm your second favorite Turo host, I am saying that I hope that you are your first, and then you watch me for inspiration.
Nice. I love it. That makes sense.
So yeah, I stole it.
It's awesome. I love it.
So you want me to kind of explain a little bit about kind of how it got into this, or how your background, how you got into it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so background is we'll start with entrepreneurship in general. I think it's kind of the best way to kind of really explain how I got here. And so I have kind of been my own guy since like day one. Whenever I was 19, I moved out to Oklahoma City. I'm from like small town, Southern Illinois.
Yeah.
And the biggest town around me had maybe 20,000 people. So, get to a city is something that's almost unheard of.
Yeah.
So at 19 years old, I just kind of moved out to Oklahoma City, trying to just find myself per se.
Mm-hmm.
I was out there for about maybe a month and a half, got me a job working as a computer tech. And that's when it all kind of started for me in this route. My boss was this awesome guy who was just this entrepreneur. He had like multiple different businesses and helping, and I just kind of seen something that it really inspired me. It actually, and you'll see here in the story, that it made me go back to school. So when I was running these stores and everything, he kind of just seen something in me, and he started teaching me his ways. Mm-hmm. And then we actually grew within the 2.5 years that I was there. We opened up 2 more stores in Oklahoma City. And I got into like the business side, the administrative side, and leaned away from computer networking and technician work, the daily mundane stuff, and started doing like the business side of it, working with QuickBooks, working with inventory and warehouses and all that stuff to get different orders in for inventory, right?
Wow.
So that's kind of where it started for me. And then I've done a whole bunch of stuff since then, but I did go back to school eventually, and I got my degree in finance after I found out that accounting was incredibly boring. And I was not a huge fan of business management on the logistical side. I think the schools kind of really push warehouse management, and that's not my style. I love finance and like what is the stock and options and bonds world is just excited me. So after about working at the computer, I was in Carbondale this time. And I went to St. Louis, got another job out there. As funny as it sounds, I got a job as an accountant. But while I was doing that job, there was another guy who was an accountant with me. And he was talking about, hey, this is kind of like my side gig. I asked, like, side gig? What does that mean? It's like, yeah, I buy real estate out here. I buy all these little 4 families for $15,000, $20,000, and then I flip them and rent them out.
Wow.
It's like, what do you mean $15,000? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Then he kind of showed me this new idea, this mind shift. I kept on asking questions. I was so just like, how does that work? Where are you getting the money? Like, I know how much you make. What does this do? He's like, yeah, I've been doing this for like 10, 15 years now. So, and that was when I got into real estate. And I've had a couple of posts in that way. I still do a little bit of real estate here and there with rentals and house flipping. But that was my first entrepreneurial move. And then here we are, a couple of years later. I've been testing and trying all these new things out. For me, real estate, investing on the rental side is a little bit passive income. And I thought, hey, there's a better way I can do something with my money, be more active. And then this is when Turo kind of started coming around. I was seeing it online, and like I started watching a couple different podcasts. Definitely with David Shands and the Social Proof podcast. Very, very much into them. I will preach the gospel of David Shands. And I seen a couple of guys on there talking about Turo, and I literally just went and tried it. And I completely fell in love with it, and the way that I could use my credit score, I could use my finance background to propel me with the knowledge that I have into a more active investing or entrepreneurship in this case, with Turo, getting loans, getting car notes, and knowing what's a good deal, what's not a good deal, how to do market research to find the right cars, to actually put on the platform where I will make a profit at the end of the month, or whatever quarter it may be. I know a long story, but definitely, hopefully that kind of encapsulated where did this entrepreneurship stuff come from?
Yeah, that's awesome. So it seems like it was in you for a very long time, and you've been doing it. It just kind of evolved over the years. It seems like that's awesome. So talk to me more about the Turo stuff. What was it? Because it sounds like you just jumped right into it. So what was that like? What were those experiences? Were there any funny stories, or maybe not funny stories that came up?
Are you wondering what's next? Has everything you tried failed? Or maybe you just feel stuck? Then coaching might be right for you. The coaching relationship is a relationship totally centered on you. If you're tired of running on the hamster wheel of life and want to start to see results, reach out to IncrediPaul for help. So what are you waiting for? Go to IncrediPaul.org/coaching, IncrediPaul.org/coaching, or at I am IncrediPaul on all my socials. Or you can click the link in the bio for your free coaching session. I want to make sure you become the most incredible version of yourself.
We can talk some stories here. It's a never-ending story. So I'm only 1 year in right now. So far, I have made a little over 100,000, I think, for the first year.
In the first year?
First year, yeah. Wow. So I jumped in. I really dove in, and I got a lot of notes. I had 5 cars running at one time, and I was doing a lot of self-marketing and doing rides on the outside. Those are actually the ones that make a little bit more money, but we'll keep it on the Turo side. So what I started with was a car note from a credit union, actually. And this is what I really wanted to actually talk about during this podcast interview, is how to really utilize your local banks and dive into that. But basically, there's like some spring auto loan thing, whatever they do. Like, oh, you won't pay for the first month, and then on top of that, we're gonna reduce your interest rate by like almost full point, but it was like 0.75. So actually, my very first vehicle was a Chevy Traverse. It was $51,000 after taxes included, and a brand new, literally 0 miles. It was a sweet deal. And on top of that, at 2.2% interest.
Wow.
I'm telling you, local banks. You can't
2.2%.
Yeah, 2.2% interest. Absolutely killer deal. There, and you almost could get any car. I wouldn't go that far with it, but basically, if you had a low interest rate like that, there's nothing you can't do. Almost any numbers will work from that point. And then, to be fair, I did at that time have an 800 credit score, which does help. So, to be fair, and what to look out for. So I'm not trying to give any false hope here. But anyways, I was like, oh, it was just that easy. it was so funny. Just apply, and they're just like, yeah. And then I started noticing, hey, Mercedes, they make a really good profit to how much it costs per month to own the vehicle. I went to the Mercedes dealership. I also went with a pre-approval letter, and this time it was only pre-approval from Bank of America. It was like a 4.5% interest. You can't get that now, by the way. It's not a thing. The rates are up too high now. And they were also running a special that this was maybe April, May-ish, and they were also running a special through Mercedes dealership. I actually went through Mercedes Financial to buy this one, and this time I got to use my EIN number.
Nice.
Because I don't know if it's true for all credit unions, but typically credit unions only want your personal information. They will not use business EINs as the foundation, or everything does. You got to PG everything anyways. In this case, it doesn't count onto your actual credit report. It won't show up as your debt to income ratios will not be affected when you actually use your business as the loan holder.
And so just to clarify, when you say PG, for those listening or watching, if you're not watching on YouTube, definitely you should go check it out. PG is the personal guarantee. So you have your business, and then you guarantee it with your personal, on the personal side.
Guarantee it with your personal. Yes, absolutely. And I don't see how anybody can get around this. I think if anybody is hearing this and you're seeing it on YouTube all over the place, put it all in your business name, it won't affect your credit. It won't affect it, but you still get the hard pull. Everybody thinks that's not happening, but it surely does. There's no business is ever going to make it with showing no revenue, by the way, might I add. I have no revenue coming in. So, and not only on top of that, they're not going to just give money because you say you're a business. But anyways, that was the first loan that I got for the business itself. And that was through personally guaranteeing, of course, literally in and out in a day. So my next car was my Mercedes C300. And I was like, okay, I really didn't expect it to be that easy. I was like, can I do more? Next week, I went to the BMW store.
You say the next week?
Yes.
What?
So the next week, I went to BMW because I was watching a YouTube video from, it's one of my other favorite content creators. Oh my goodness, why am I blanking on her name right now? Sima. So I think her YouTube is Sima Experience. She's an incredible YouTube content creator, and I think she does a great job. She was going through some of the BMW like provisions towards rideshare people. So BMW actually lends to rideshare people more frequently because of the business model. They actually believe in the business model. So I went to BMW, and this time I forgot to mention that when I was going to the Mercedes dealer, I did not say I was doing this for Turo. This was for business, because my understanding is, and I will give you another hint here once I tell you about the Porsche dealership.
Yeah.
You don't say what it is for. You just say, hey, it's for my business. They're like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I do marketing and, online advertising.
Yeah.
I do. I'm lying.
Yeah. Along with some others.
Advertise my own cars on a platform called Turo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so BMW doesn't worry about the language that you use. So you come in, you're saying, hey, this is what I do. This is my business model. Here's how much I'm looking to make. And they actually will grant those loans through BMW. Their financial thing is fantastic. If you have there's a little gem here. If you have over a 700 credit score for BMW, you're actually immediately on their like premier lenders list.
Wow.
And that 700 above gives you the best interest rates that they can offer you.
Really?
So as long as you have a 700 credit score or higher, it gets you on the premier list, and it drops the interest rate way down. I think it was almost a point, like 1.25% lower than their normal. Even their what's those? You know how they do like the show? It's like, oh, you can get this car brand new at a 5.56% interest rate over this period of time. Well, they'll actually do lower than that.
Wow.
You have a 700 plus credit score, because they're doing like the median average. The typical client average credit score is like a 640.
Okay.
So they were giving you what that is, but as long as you have that 700, you're actually top tier to them, and they want to get you into a car.
Wow. Which
actually got me my second one. So I bought the first one, and then a month later, I got a call from the dealer, and they're like, "Hey, we just got this new, it wasn't new, it was like a trade-in. Like, hey, we know what you're doing. This is a trade-in. It's brand new. We've already got it all checked out. It's going to be one of those, forgot what it's called, like something pre-owned, where they
like certified pre-owned.
Yes. So they verify that it's good, and they will give me all the cool warranty and stuff with that. They pay for the gap insurance. And so that was actually how I got the second one, was by them. So I'm car number 4 there. So,
wow.
And then I also got an Audi A4. That was probably not my best deal, and kind of actually out of that now, because that one got totaled last year.
Wow.
So I didn't even have that car very long. But
so
that's how we got it. That's how we got these cars. It was between March and July, I got 5 cars.
Wow. Man, that I don't even know what to say that from not doing Turo to having 5 cars in what is that, like 3.5 to 4 months?
Yes. And I was sitting on $250,000 in vehicles.
Wow. So
zero revenue, by the way, yet. Still at zero. I have nothing to show. I have nothing to show them. They're just giving it to me because I have a great credit score.
Wow. That's amazing. And so with that, were you what does the down payment look like for stuff like that for the business? Really? Zero down payment for those listening. Zero down payment.
I would not. I was like, hey, what are you doing a down payment on? I was just confidently, nothing. I'm like, okay, no problem. In which, if you could express this to anybody who's watching, credit score, credit score, credit score. When you take care of your personal self, you will not have to have anything down. What's the down payment do outside of lower your monthly? It doesn't verify that you are any less risky if you have $2,000 to put down on a car.
That's true. That's very true. That's a good point, man. So walk me through managing 5 cars. Like, how does that work? And are you doing this full time, or how are you doing it? Yeah.
No, not at all. So managing 5 cars, honestly, it's fairly simple. So me and my wife do a lot of, well, when I say a lot, we do everything. I do probably 95% of it. And then my wife helps me out on the things that are needed whenever they come about. Like, hey, for some reason the unlock's not working, babe, can you unlock the car for this client that's outside?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people always ask me, this is the funniest thing, like, where are you going to park the cars at? Like, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't want them parked.
That's
They're
good point.
they're not here.
They're being
As long as you do a really good job on taking pictures, things of that nature, and marketing and promoting for yourself outside of Turo, you'll typically have the cars out the whole time. The getting them cleaned and taking the pictures, all of that is, it may take, I'd say, about an hour per car after a drop off to go wash it, clean it well. And I got videos I've made on how to clean it, what they're looking for, how to take pictures as well, because the picture taking is incredibly, incredibly important, because Turo is really kind of, I think they lean more towards the client unless you just can back it up. A lot of people talk about taking 200 pictures. I think that's overkill. What are you going to do with 200 pictures per thing? I think that's a lot on your own self. I take roughly about 50 to 60, and that'll cover outside, body, wheel, rim, trunk, under. And the one I always get to tell everybody, make sure you're taking pictures underneath the car seat, because that's typically, like, a lot of people will vacuum, but they'll like leave their cigarettes and weed or underneath the seat. They just forget to get in the cracks. So the most important pictures, I believe, is the cracks per se. That, honestly, that is the maintenance. The oil changes, they come up. The good thing is that I have the newer cars. They tell me right now, I'd say I probably don't have the best system as far as making sure that the oil changes happen on a regular basis, but they're going to happen earlier than normal because these cars are always being driven, and almost as if it was a daily commuter, because they typically, when you drive the car, especially with this Traverse, it's a 7-seater, they're going on trips. I mean, you're getting 800-900 plus miles on this vehicle over a weekend. And then when you do that 2 or 3 times in a month, you're already looking at an oil change.
Yeah.
And so I keep what's that? Is it a Groupon? Ooh, Groupon fan. A Groupon fan for the oil changes at either a Speedy Lube or Valvoline. People of Valvoline know me way too well.
Here comes Michael, your second favorite Turo host.
Didn't you just come in here with a Mercedes? What is this? Yeah, it's some pretty funny conversations every once in a while.
They asked you
honestly,
what
this is fairly easy, and I think, honestly, I'd probably be able to handle at least 8 cars on my own, and I work a full-time job as a teacher. So I teach at a high school over in St. Louis, and I'm a business teacher and computer science teacher. So, which also, to be fair, I'm off at like 2:30 every day. So I get a little bit more time where I to attend to my business, which is incredibly helpful. But I think even if you were having 9 to 5, getting home at 6, you should still be able to handle at least up to 6 cars.
Wow.
No problem. Before you need to have somebody like helping you out.
Wow. So talk through that process, because I'm trying to wrap my mind around managing 6 cars while working full time.
So make sure you have a job, you can have your phone on you.
Yeah, that's key. Yeah.
And because I teach business, I sometimes, like, if a client calls me in the middle of class, I will literally just pick up and answer and let the kids listen.
Oh,
like,
wow.
This is what happens when clients call you.
Yeah.
Kind of conversations you're going to have. So just be quiet and listen.
Yeah. That's cool.
And they really enjoy that. I think the kids seeing that is a pretty cool process. Them able, like, oh, that's what you would say in this situation. Oh, what are you looking at extending? Or, hey, something's going wrong. What can I do here? Just kind of talking to client through that. But honestly, as long as you can have at least text messaging, right? Or kind of do that while you're doing whatever you're doing at your full-time job, typically speaking, no problem there as far as the client side or taking care of your Turo clients.
Wow. That's amazing.
Oh, and then if you're wondering about the pickup and drop offs too,
Yeah.
same concept. So because they're all newer, this is probably one of the perks of having a fairly newish car. I think as long as you have like a 2020 or higher, most brand vehicles have an unlock feature through their own, so the Audi, the Mercedes-Benz, they all have apps that you put on your phone. You can unlock and lock through the app. So that's, just click of a button. And the client will be like, hey, I'm here. Here's my picture to verify that I'm actually here. I'm the person.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, thank you. Here's the unlock. They're like, oh, thanks. And then they just drive off. So I've maybe seen 20 to 20, maybe 15, 20 people so far out of the 115 trips I've done.
Wow.
So it's pretty hands off on that part of it.
Okay.
Outside of going to the airport to drop off or the Amtrak to drop off, those again, very simple. Again, go to the parking lot, drop it off, and actually leave. I think it's like $15 at the airport for parking. I literally leave cash inside the car for them to pay it as they leave out, because they're paying me $120 for the drop off. So I don't see nothing wrong with dropping 15 to them.
That's awesome. So I'm kind of curious. So how long because I know we've been talking about all this stuff at Turo, but how long have you been teaching for?
So this is my fourth year teaching.
Fourth year teaching.
And with that background, so I actually started in the accounting side, and then I actually went to work for TD Ameritrade. I was a broker on the trade desk. And like I said, I love stocks and options.
Yeah.
That's like honestly, a huge passion of mine. I absolutely love talking through options, strategies, and just money in general. So, and you can kind of see with the loans and stuff, that's probably why I enjoy it so much. So I was a broker for 2.5 years. And that's whenever it started hitting me on the home side, is I'm never here. I was doing very, very well as a broker because I'm incredibly passionate. And then I was passionate about options and stocks and talking to clients. So not only am I already in that realm of, hey, I go hard in everything I do.
Yeah.
So to add on that passion on what I love, I could work 10 hours, no problem.
Oh, wow.
Easy, just easy. Work on a Saturday, getting that overtime, sweet. And then because your overtime and how your commissions would also add on to your bonuses.
Wow.
So everything you did, the more work, the more effort you put in, you were being reciprocated that from the company, and getting promoted, and I had like 2 promotions within the first 2.5 years.
Wow.
And I was looking at going up into upper management and doing not upper management, then most likely would have went up from there. But it was a lot of fun, but a lot of time. So where I'm at, it was probably an hour and a half drive to work.
Wow. One way, an hour and a half?
It had nothing to do with the drive. It's just rush hour. It's just the time. So if I'm having to get there like 8:30, me going all the way through St. Louis and all the way out to Chesterfield, if nobody knows, if you're watching from wherever, you probably have no clue I'm talking about. But I'm going 40 miles, which on average, if I were to have no traffic, probably 35 minutes.
Yeah.
But whenever you get into traffic and you're just literally stopping, you just stop in most places. So I'm having to count that into my day. So I'm leaving at 6 to be there, make sure I'm be there by 8.
Wow.
And then I actually started working overtime on the back end because I was spending so much time in traffic. I said, there's no point.
Yeah.
There's no point in me taking almost 2 hours on the way back. That was the worst. Driving back home was the worst for a normal 35-minute normal drive.
Wow.
I would work 2 or 3 hours after so that I could have only a 30-minute drive, which would literally get me home at the same time.
And you get that extra
You see
money.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was working and I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. But that's whenever my son was going through middle school.
Mm,
And I love basketball.
yeah.
Played basketball. I was a D1 athlete. It was JUCO, but hey, still D1.
Yeah.
And I played basketball my first 2 years of college, or back to college, if you remember that part.
Yeah.
That was how I got my scholarship. And so now I'm getting my son, I'm training him, and I'm able to go to the rec or whatever with him and train him up. But I'm not home. I'm getting home like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Wow.
That is when the games are actually ending. And I did that for 2 years, and I was like, is it worth it?
Mm,
Is $90,000 to $100,000 worth it?
mm,
That's when it started hitting me. It's like, I have missed everything.
wow.
And then my daughter came along. She was born right at the end, right near the end here.
Mm.
And I'm going to kind of go back to this, but I got 3 days off.
What? 3 days off?
Zip.
Wow.
And so not only, so that was a year in.
Mm-hmm.
After a year of essentially not really doing anything to her, because I'm tired. Like, I get home, just go and do something, something really quick, and go into bed by 10.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours at home, go to sleep, wake up, go to work, 2 hours at home, go to sleep. And so I just felt like an immense pressure of not being there. Although the money was fantastic. And I said, hey, if I was in my 20s, I didn't have kids, still be there, no problem. Easy. Because it was the quickest way of becoming, or helping myself become per se wealthy.
Yeah.
Would have been an easy way of getting to the 100 figures, and then supporting a family in that way, if I would have been there a lot sooner. Yeah. So that was kind of like my exit, and I started looking for a way out, and they were actually paying me to go back to school to get my master's degree for teaching. Wow. So I was using that every semester. I was getting like $5,000 a semester to go back to school. Nice. So on top of these crazy work hours, I was actually in school.
Wow.
Getting my credits so that I could become a licensed teacher. I'm telling you, I go in. There's no, I don't mess around. When I want to do something, I never do it 60, 70%. To me, it doesn't make sense. I'm either all in or I'm all out.
Makes sense.
Man, I had a key note that I missed there, and maybe I'll remember it whenever, as you keep asking questions here.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. Just like doing well, but at the same time, I think there's a lesson in there as well, because I feel like there's this, I don't know the word for it, but people are striving to get 6 figures, but at the same time, they're either losing their family or they're losing their passion, they're losing all these things. But you got to a point where you're like, yeah, the money is great, but I am not involved in my family. I'm missing out on so many things. And I think that happened pretty quickly, because I feel like some people, they get to upper management before they even think about that. But in a couple of years, you had the self-awareness to take a step back and ask yourself, is this what you want?
Yeah. And it was kind of, and definitely when I did make that switch, like half the money's gone. You at first you're like, okay, it's fine, great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm tired of this crap. And then you do it, and then that check comes.
Oh.
And then I was like, you know what? It'll be all right. I think I can do this. I think, and that's actually what caused me to be like, okay, I have more time now.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting home at 7. I'm getting home at 2:30. Wow, and that's when I started working out, like, oh man, maybe I can do something that is not as time it doesn't take as much time as another job, of course. And then that's when the entrepreneurship kind of started kicking in. It's like, hey, I can do these little side things and I don't have to put as much effort and much time. Now, come to find out, boy, was I wrong. But I remember the first summer. This is the crazy part. Oh, now this is the key part I went back to. As a broker, you get holidays off that are market holidays. Okay. So you get Christmas, you get Thanksgiving, 4th of July.
President's Day, MLK.
Maybe President's Day, Martin Luther King. But the fun fact about this whole thing is you cannot ask off the day before or after that holiday.
Really?
Okay. So here we are. Oh, and New Year's Eve. And I think it's the other one off. So even if it falls like on like a Thursday or Wednesday or Tuesday, to like kind of string it out. Like say, even if you had the vacation time, you had the PTO, you cannot ask off. Those are blacked out days.
Oh, wow.
Cannot ask off. And so I did what every other person would do. I would work it. Wow. So they give you this, hey, you're already getting paid for it. And if it's, you get time and a half because you're working overtime. But they'll also do double time if you work it. So I said, shoot. I mean, if you're going to pay me $75, $80 an hour to be here on a holiday, I'll just do it.
Wow.
So I really didn't take off.
Wow.
Anxiety was crazy anxiety. Like I wake up in a panic, like, oh, I woke up 15 minutes late. I'm gonna miss work. I'm so worried about being fired.
Wow.
And this is where I wanted to get to, that time off. And like I was explaining to the kids, like I had nothing. So Thanksgiving, I can't ask off for Thanksgiving. Like I can't, Thanksgiving's on Thursday. I can't ask off Friday, so I can't go with the family. So I just work Thursday. I just work and they're all gone.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's when it started really, I was saying, man, this really hit me so hard. But as a teacher, I remember this so much. The first year that I worked as a teacher, through the first year, summer comes around. And teachers, we don't work on the summer.
Yeah.
I woke up sweating, freaking out that I was late.
Oh.
Like a whole week straight.
Wow.
And then it hit me. I said, man, I have an issue. I had to even back again, like, hey, I miss my kids. But now I'm like, I was really fearful. I was panicking, waking up, like jumping and like trying to like figure out what to do with my life. Like, oh, I'm a teacher. I don't work. I have nothing to get up to. And that was the first week I was like, oh man, I really needed that. I really needed that backup, figures yourself out. And if that's something for somebody here, that like sometimes you just need that if you're working that hard, you don't know you need it till it literally hits you.
Yeah. That's so true. I know John Maxwell, who's a leadership expert, talks about having margins in your life and having time to reflect on either a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly basis. He does all of them because it's in that reflection time that you can understand how things are going. If they're going well, you can continue doing it, or if they're not going well, you can reorganize some stuff. But if you're always on the go and never take the time to reflect, you will look back at maybe 5 years, 10 years, or maybe in a year and be like, where did my time go?
Wow. Absolutely. That hit me. Where am I going?
Yeah.
So kind of, and that adds to, hey, I had all this time. I know these summers I have off. What am I going to do with them? And that's what actually helped me so much when starting with Turo. I started like right near the end. That's when I got my first 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah.
So I had that whole summer to really organize the business.
Nice.
build the business in a way,
Nice.
figure it out. What are my messages? How am I gonna what do I do in this situation? What does that look like? How do I speak with my clients? How am I going to go out to them?
Mhm.
Which airport lot do I use? So I had like time to like really sit down and kind of figure this out as a
Yeah.
business and trying to map it out, the strategies.
Yeah.
What kind of where do I gotta have my banks at? What type of banking do I need to go to? Give me the opportunity to like literally walk to a bank. Because sometimes, by the time you get off at 3 or 4 o'clock, typically banks on a weekday, they close by
Oh,
4.
yeah.
The only chance that you'd have is a Friday.
Mm.
But so that summer opened me up. I was going to 2 or 3 different banks and trying to figure out
Wow.
what do you have? What kind of billing do you have? And that actually is how I got to I found the one that I use now, which is Wells Fargo,
Mm.
just because of the ease of everything. Like they connect with everybody. I don't know. Wells Fargo's big, but
Yeah.
and then I use QuickBooks, and I found that they're the best one for me is personally for invoicing.
Oh, okay.
I absolutely love it. Finding out in heck, gosh, nobody talks about it enough, but when you're in a business, like you have to even think about the expenses, the depreciation of your vehicle, the tax
Mm.
planning. How are you going to, who's doing the books
Oh,
in
yeah.
general? Good thing. Again, I'm blessed to have that accounting background.
Yeah.
So pretty much all that stuff kind of comes intuitively to me. I just got to go and read a little bit or watch a couple of YouTube videos. Man, talk about a university, YouTube. What the grace of God, honestly. Like
Mm.
the amount of intelligence that you can receive in such a
Yeah.
short amount of time is absolutely priceless.
Mhm.
If you go and find or research to get the right ones, of course.
Yeah.
Getting the right people. There's a lot of shady people, of course, out there, but I think
Yeah.
I would say at least 70% of the content's actually really good.
Yeah.
It's that 30 that you got to learn how to be wise with.
Yeah.
And
Shoot
I
the
think
meat,
that's
spit out the
true in
bone.
our own faith too, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of junk out there,
Yeah.
and sometimes you gotta be able to decipher it and see what's good and what's not.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, we are almost out of time, but I'm curious. You talk about Turo. I know you did a little bit of rental stuff. I think you're still doing a little bit with houses. What is next for you? Are you diving more into Turo, doing more in the real estate realm, or something totally different?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to continue growing Turo. I definitely want to continue growing it in a way that's less financially a burden on my end right now.
Yeah.
Whenever you buy 5 cars, your credit score goes down a little bit. Hey, that's kind of part of the game.
Yeah.
So this year, I'm going to be focusing heavily on what would be called other people's cars, OPCs. So inviting others to join with me. I have a great platform. I have a great system that I've already have implemented in place. I know how to run the business.
Yeah.
So now it's just more about getting in more cars and continue to keep the revenues going and being profitable.
Nice.
And then also I am heavy into stock options, trading stock options. It's definitely a thing. I love doing it. Not sure how much I want to teach it. It's
Mm.
such a sketch kind of market out there, and you got to be really careful with that as well. But house flipping, definitely into. I want to do another house flip this year. I have 3 videos on my YouTube page
Awesome.
about the one that I did do last year.
Yeah.
And I would love to do another one this year. Just got to get the cash available to be able to do such a thing. Yeah. So I'm pretty much cash is where I need to be at. And the interest rates are going up right now. So
Mm.
everything's kind of slowing down. And I'm just trying to lean in and lean generally speaking
Yeah.
and making sure that I'm not getting myself into a financial burden and kind of basically failing. I would not want to do that, but I'm looking for at least 4 or 5 more cars on Turo, and I would love to flip at least 1 house per year, find another rental per year as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So for anyone listening or watching, if you didn't get the hint the first time, definitely watch on YouTube. But yeah, if you're in the St. Louis area or close by, definitely reach out to Michael to see if you can connect with him on either doing stuff with Turo, well, mainly on the Turo side with the cars, or maybe you had some questions. I'm sure you could hook people up with all the wealth of knowledge you've learned over the last few years between the real estate and the Turo business, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't have to be about me partnering up too. If you just have any questions, I am an open book. I think that in general if you have questions, how do you start, things like that, DM me. I'm glad to speak with anybody.
Awesome. Well, I want to make sure people know where to find you. I'm not going to link your socials in the show notes, but I want to make sure you say where they can find you on your socials or websites, all of that.
Yeah, so it's the @real Mike Shear that goes for YouTube and Instagram. Those are the two platforms that I am sticking with right now. I do have a Twitter or Facebook of that, but I'm not heavily into them. I'm really leaning in and trying to be incredibly focused on YouTube this year and growing the channel.
Awesome. Well, that's good. I know, to me, I feel like Facebook is dead and Twitter is dying. So you are in the right realm there for sure. But it's been awesome having you on the podcast, walking through your journey, what you've learned as far as just from life in general, from your background, going back to school with family. It's phenomenal. I know I learned something on the podcast. And for those listening, hope you learned something as well. Reiterate, definitely reach out to Michael if you have any questions or want to connect with him as a partner. He's a great guy, doing a lot of great things. And yeah, it's been awesome. So thanks for listening to the podcast, and just have a good rest of your day, morning, wherever you are. Stay IncrediPaul.
Thank you for listening to the IncrediPaul podcast with Paul Ferranbi. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. We'll see you here next time. And be incredible. Incredible.